Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm doing a Beetrooper deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck was actually suggested to me by one of my patrons, Gloomba. And this deck really is the ultimate insect deck to be able to turbo out all sorts of awesome insect boss monsters to go in for game. I've included all sorts of spicy tech cards in this build for you guys, so without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name screwed in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. And definitely give Gloomba some love down in the comments down below for suggesting such an awesome deck. So let's get straight on into this one, guys. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Beetrooper Scout Buggy. Beetrooper Scout Buggy is definitely a 3-of in the build with an awesome ability that you cannot special summon monsters except insect monsters, which the majority of your Beetrooper monsters actually share that common effect. But if this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon another copy of this card from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but you can only use this effect once per turn, but that's an awesome ability to get an additional copy of this card on your side of the field, so you can make your copy of Armor Horn, which is a really awesome link monster. We then played 2 copies of Sting Lancer. Sting Lancer is great as a 2-of in the build, but you really only need 2 copies of Sting Lancer in the deck because it has the ability during the main phase, quick effect, you can target 1 insect monster in your grave and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, and do place the targeted monsters on the bottoms of the deck, which is great to be able to spin cards back into your deck and get rid of resources out of your opponent's graveyard to get a 2400 attack point boss monster on the field. And if this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Beetrooper Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is great because we have some awesome targets for this card's ability. We then played just a single copy of Scale Bomber. Scale Bomber is really good as a 1-of in the deck, but this card is just an awesome extender. Because if an insect monster is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, then you can special summon this card from your hand, which is an awesome effect just to instantly get this card out on the field. We then played a single copy of Assault Roller. Assault Roller is also a great 1-of in the deck that you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing 1 insect monster from your graveyard, and it's a really good extender just to be able to get on your side of the field to basically just get an additional insect on the board. We then play a single copy of Mighty Neptune. Mighty Neptune is an awesome boss monster and is ridiculously easy at putting on your side of the field. As it cannot be normal summoned or set, it must first be special summoned from your hand by shuffling 3 of your banished insect monsters into the main deck, and during the main phase, if this card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, then you can special summon this card, and you can only effect this card once per turn. It also has the ability once per turn. During the end phase, you can target 1 other insect monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack points to help you boost your insects up to be able to get massive. We then played 3 copies of Resonance Insect. This card is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck and probably the best normal summon in the entire build, because if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, then you can add a level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect just to normal summon this card out to your side of the field, get any extender on the field, and then make your copy of Armor Horn to be able to link this card away, which is so cool because then you get a search. This card also has a great effect that if this card is banished, then you can send an insect type monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a really awesome ability. We then play 3 copies of Gokipole. Gokipole is really good as a 3-of. This card helps out so much in the deck because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you added a normal monster, you can special summon it. Then you can destroy 1 monster on the field, attack greater than or equal to the special summon monster, which is great because we actually summon out a copy of our shiny Black Sea, which is a really good 1-of to be able to summon off your copy of Gokipole because it is a 2000 attack point monster, and it's just a really good card overall to summon off Gokipole's ability. We then play 2 copies of Battle Wasp Sting the Poison. Sting the Poison is an awesome normal summon in the deck because this card has the ability, if this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Battle Wasp monster from your deck to your hand except another copy of this card, which is usually going to be your copy of Pin the Bullseye that you're searching off this card's ability. But this card has also got an insane ability that quick effect, you can tribute 1 other insect monster and then target effect monster your opponent controls and negate its effects until the end of the turn, essentially being an imperm or a Veiler, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Pin the Bullseye. Pin the Bullseye is great as a 2-of just extender in the deck that you can search off your copy of Sting the Poison, which helps out a lot in the deck. As if you control an insect monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and during your main phase, you can inflict 200 points of damage to your opponent for each Battle Wasp Pin the Bullseye that you control, which usually it's just going to do 200 points of burn damage off this card's ability, but it's really good to get on your side of the field so you can start link summoning. We then play 2 copies of Retaliating Sea. Retaliating Sea is an awesome hand trap to play in this deck, but this card is also great because if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Earth Insect monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, which is great to just get extenders to your hand. It also says that during either player's turn, when your opponent activates a spell card that is in effect, that special summons a monster, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and if it's summoned this way while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. This card is insane against Runic and is just a fantastic 2-of in the deck. You could probably play 3, but I feel like 2 is really all you need. We then play a single copy of Infinite Antlion. This card is really good in the deck. I did consider playing this card at multiple copies, but I ended up with just 1 in this build because you don't want to play as many normal summons because we already have cards like Sting the Poison, you have cards like Resonant Insect, and Beetrooper Scout Buggy. But this card is great because once per turn, at the start of the damage step, when an insect monster battles, you can target 1 card that you control and 1 card your opponent controls and destroy them, which is just a really cool ability. And when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can equip an insect monster from your hand or grave to this card, with the equipped spell giving it the ability of 500 attack and defense points. So you can use this card to help you from getting OTK'd, which is why I use this card in the deck, and it helps you go in for your copy of your Ultimate Great Insect, which is just really good. I absolutely love how easy it is to go in for that big moth. The Ultimate Great Insect is just so cool to be able to go into the deck because we actually play a field spell to be able to work with that card's ability. We then play a crawler package. So we're going to start off with 3 copies of Soma. Soma is really good as a starter in the deck because you can just basically normal summon any insect to your side of the field, use this card to flip it face down, and then reduce this card's level by 4 to be able to summon out your copy of Spine and your other copy of your Receptor, which is just really good because your copy of Spine is basically Man-Eater Bug, and your copy of Receptor says you can add a crawler monster from your deck to your hand if it's flipped face up, which is great to get you 3 monsters on your side of the field for a single normal summon so you can start really link climbing. I really like these cards in the deck and they help out a lot in this build. We then play a single copy of Doomdozer. Doomdozer is insane because you banish 2 insects from the graveyard to special summon this card to your side of the field, making this card just a really good extender and a great target for your copy of Resonant Insect to add to your hand. We then play a single copy of the Shelled Emperor of the Forest Crown. This card is a crazy big insect, probably one of the most powerful insects in the entire game, because it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand or grave by banishing 3 insect or plant type monsters from your hand and or grave, and you can only special summon this card once per turn, and your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to your spell and trap cards or effects activation, and once per turn. During your main phase, you can destroy all face-up monsters on the field except insect monsters. Also, this card cannot attack directly, which is fine because it's basically a Regeki for your opponent because we're basically just playing insect and plant, which is really easy to be able to do, and this card is insane, sitting at 3,400. We then play a single copy of Kamungus. Kamungus is really good because it is searchable off your copy of your Resonant Insect. We then play a single copy of Redox. Redox is Earth, and it works with this deck a lot because we have so many different Earth targets in this build. And this card is basically Monster Reborn because if this card's in your hand or grave, you can banish a total of 2 Earth and or Dragon type monsters from your hand or grave, except this card to special summon this card, and during your opponent's end phase, you basically add this card back to your hand. But you can discard this card and an Earth monster to the grave to be able to target 1 monster in your grave and special summon that target, which is great to be able to work with Resonant Insect because it is an Earth, so it works really well with that card. We then play a single copy of Shiny Black Squatter. This card, it works with our copy of Goki Pole, which is why I'm playing this card as a 1F in the deck, and it just helps out a lot overall in the build because it is summonable off your copy of Goki Pole. If you want to play a smaller one, you can play the other copy of the Goki Pole, the normal version of it that it was originally, if you want to play a smaller card to be able to play in this position, but I just like playing Shiny Black Sea because it's really good to be able to pop cards on the field, and it comes out at 2,000, which means it's not a bad normal summon. We then finally play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. Ash Blossom is just really good and belongs in just about any deck to be able to just stop your opponent in their tracks and stop them from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters. That is a lot of monsters in this deck, and it's crazy how many like toolbox cards you play in this deck to be able to just go in with all these combos. But let's go ahead and get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is really good because that's how we summon out our copy of Cruel Saturn. Cruel Saturn is really good in the deck, but you really only want to summon it off your copy of Instant Fusion, which is why we play it as a one-of in the build. We then play a single copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is great in the deck as a one-of to get the exact insect you need in the graveyard, like your copy of Goki Pole, which is just really good to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Gold Sark. Gold Sark works with our copy of Resident Insect because if it is banished, it does go off to help you Foolish Burial, which is just really good. We then play a single copy of the Beetrooper Field Spell Formation. This card is really good as a one-of in the deck because it lets you target a Beetrooper monster in the grave and special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Also, you lose life points equal to its original attack, and if a face-up insect monster you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can special summon a Beetrooper token to your side of the field, which is great to help you link climb. Speaking of Beetrooper tokens, we also play two copies of Beetrooper Descent. Beetrooper Descent is really good as a 2-of because this card does give you a token on your side of the field. And if you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack, when you activate this card, you can destroy one other spell trap on the field, which is great to use this card almost like an MST to be able to also get you a token on your side of the field to help you link climb. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing one, and that's going to be one copy of Fly and Sting. Fly and Sting is a great counter trap to be able to play in the deck, and this card has the ability when your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Beetrooper monster, negate the activation if you do destroy it, and during your end phase, if this card's in the grave, you can act and you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack, you can banish one insect monster from grave, set this card, which is a great ability just to be able to constantly be getting this card back to be able to use it as an awesome counter trap. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Cruel Saturn. Cruel Saturnus is really good as a one-of in the deck. To be able to summon off your copy of Instant Fusion, you're never properly fusion summoning this card except for your copy of Instant Fusion, but it's great because you cannot special summon monsters except for insect monsters, and you can only use the following effects this card once per turn, that if this card is special summoned, you get to add a Beetrooper card from your deck to your hand. Also, it has the ability that you can add that card to your hand, and if an insect monster is banished face up, then you can actually target one of your Beetrooper monsters and special summon it, which is a really good card to be able to just instantly bring back one of your banished Beetroopers to your side of the field. I really like this card as a one-of in the deck, but I don't feel like you need any more than one because Instant Fusion is at 1, and you're basically just using this card as a search. We can play a single copy of Ultimate Great Insect. This card is awesome in the deck and very easy to put on your side of the field because it does require you to use a monster. It must first be either fusion summon or special summon from your X deck by attributing an insect monster with 2,000 or more defense equipped with an equip card, which is very easy to do with your copy of Imminent Antlion, or your copy of your Insector Link monster actually equips cards to other monsters, which is really good to be able to do to instantly get your copy of Ultimate Great Insect on the field. Plus, this card is basically Raigeki when you have a field spell on the field, because once per turn during the battle phase, if a face-up card is in the field spell zone, then you destroy all monsters your opponent controls, meaning it's just really good to be able to work with a copy of Beetrooper Formation, the field spell, and it's very easy to get to. We then play a single copy of Cicada King. Cicada King is a walking negate, which is why we play this card as a one-of. We then play a single copy of Ninja Shadow Mosquito. This card is just really hard for your opponent to deal with, which is why I play this card as one-of, because it cannot be destroyed by battle, and it also has the ability that makes all your opponent's monsters attack, which is great for us, because when an attack is declared, you can activate one of these effects. You can either detach material from this card to place a hallucination counter on a face-up monster your opponent controls, and it has the ability that if any monster has a hallucination counter on it, the effect is negated of that monster, or you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to one monster's attack with the hallucination counter, which actually wins a lot of games. We then play a single copy of Great Beetrooper Invincible Atlas. Invincible Atlas just gets massive. This is a card you're going for all the time because it's so big, it's so easy to put on your side of the field, and when this card has 3,000 or less attack, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and you cannot special summon monsters except for insects, just like the rest of your Beetrooper cards. But you can tribute an insect monster to activate one of these effects. Either special summon a Beetrooper monster from the deck, which is a great effect to be able to do, or this card gains an additional 2,000 attack until the end of the turn, pushing this card to 5,000 so you can OTK. Speaking of OTKing, we also play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just really good at being able to pop multiple cards on the field. It was just a fantastic card overall in the deck. We then play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is great in this build as a one-up because we can establish this card extremely easily to put multiple negates on the board. Play a single copy of the Blackluster Soldier Link monster. This card adds a lot of pressure into the deck, which is really good to be able to do in this build. I absolutely love this card. It's just a really good card overall in this build to basically summon to your side of the field, destroy a monster by battle, and either it gains 1,500, can make a second attack during the following battle phase, or just non-targeting banish card off the field. It's one of the few non-insect monsters we play in the deck, but it's very easy to establish level 7 monsters on your side of the field to get this card where it's basically immortal. We then play a single copy of the Papillon. Papillon's really good as a one-of in the build because if this card is Link Summon, you place a counter on this card for each insect monster used for its Link material. And then quick effect, you can remove a counter from this card to special summon a level 4 or lower insect monster from your grade and defense, but you can only use one effect of this card per turn, so you can either put the counter on it or remove the counter, but it is a quick effect, so you can do it during the opponent's turn to remove that counter. We then play a single copy of Adipus. The Traptrix Adipus is actually an insect, meaning you can summon this card really easy in the deck, and it has the ability this Link Summon card is unaffected by trap effects, and all Traptrix monsters you control gain 1,000 attack. We have a normal trap in your grave, but the really good effect is once per turn you can target a face of cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters you control and negate their effects until the end of the turn, which is a really awesome ability for this card to have. To use this card as a multiple negate, almost like a Dark Ruler no more, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Armor Horn. Armor Horn is one of the first cards you're going to summon out of your extra deck, and this card is great because it has the ability that during your main phase, it gives you an additional normal summon of an insect monster. If it's in your grave, you manage 3 other insect monsters from the grave to special summon this card, but banish when it leaves the field, just making it an awesome extender in the deck. We then play 2 copies of the Insector Link monster. This card is awesome in the deck because it helps us actually summon out our copy of Ultimate Grade Insect, and it also helps us recycle cards because if it's Link Summon, you can discard a card, target one of their insect monsters you control, and equip an insect monster from your deck to it as an equip spell that gives it 500 attack and defense, meaning if you have any insect with 1,500 defense on your side of the field, you can equip an insect with this card's ability to be able to tribute it and summon out the copy of Ultimate Great Insect, meaning it's really easy to be able to summon out to your side of the field. This card also has the ability you can target 3 insect monsters in the grave, shuffle in the deck, and then draw a card to help you recycle resources. And then finally, we play a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is great in the deck as a one-up because this card helps out a lot overall because you can summon out your copy of your Resident Insect or your copy of your Goki Pole, link it away, and then get their effects to go off, which is why we play this card as a one-up in the deck. Just in case we don't have any extenders, you can get their effects to go off by using this card, which is really, really good. So that's it for the deck, guys. I know it's a lot, but it's a really awesome deck that plays a lot of different insect monsters that you have to go over. But it's a really fun deck to be able to play. That you're just basically playing a bunch of normal summons in the deck and a bunch of toolbox cards. I absolutely love Beetrooper and hope they get more support in the future because Cruel Saturnus was really what they needed. But it's a really fun deck to play. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.